السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا أن زلنا خطأ في بيان مرادك فإنك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. واجعلنا هداة مهتدين غير الضالين ولا مضلين. صلى الله على النبي الأمي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال وإذا غلط رجلان فذبح كل واحد منهما أضحية الآخر أجزاء عنهما لا ضمان عليهما. وهذا استحسان. Imam Qudri rahmatullahi report is they said ونفعل الله بعلومي وعلومي وشيخنا في الدارين that if two persons, the last masala of the Kitab al-Udhiyah, that if two persons by mistake or mistakenly slaughter each other's sacrificial animal, أجزاء عنهما, then each one's sacrifice will suffice for the other. ولا ضمان عليهما, and there will be no penalty for either of them to pay. So Zayd and Bakr, for example, they slaughtered each other's animal by mistake. So Zayd's sacrifice of Bakr's animal will suffice on his behalf, and vice versa. And Zayd doesn't owe Bakr anything, and vice versa. Bakr doesn't owe Zayd anything either. He doesn't have to pay any kind of penalty or pay any kind of fees to Abu Bakr for having slaughtered his animal. وهذا استحسان. And I say this is istihsan. وأصل هذا, however, the basis of this masala is this here, right? Because now obviously you're going to have qiyas and you're going to have istihsan. What is the basis of the masala? The asl أن من ذبح أضحية غيره بغير إذنه لا يحل له. And a person who sacrifices an animal without the other one's meaning without the owner's permission, it should not be permissible for him. That's number one. وهو ضمان بقيمتهما. Number two, he is supposed to be held liable for paying the value of the animal. Not the thaman, not the kima, not the price, but the value of the animal. He's supposed to pay it back to the owner. Number three, ولا يجزيه من الأضحية. It will not suffice for him on behalf of udhiyah, on behalf of the qurbani. Fil qiyas. So that is qiyas. Okay, so this is the asl fil qiyas. This is the basis of the masala in qiyas. Okay, that these three rulings should have applied. That it not be sufficient for qurbani, that it not be permissible, that he pays a penalty, and that that the slaughtering of the other person's animal should not be permissible. However, وقول زفر, this is the opinion of Imam Zufar rahmatullahi. وفي الاستحسان, however, استحسان, وفي الاستحسان يجوز, it will be permissible, ولا ضمان على الذابح, and you will not have to pay any kind of penalty to the ولا ضمان على الذابح. There will be no penalty upon the slaughterer, the person who slaughtered the animal. There will be no penalty upon him. وهو قولنا, and that is our opinion, meaning the mashayikh. وجه القياس, what is the basis of the qiyas now? We're saying أنه ذبح الشاة غيره بغير أمره, that he slaughtered somebody else's goat or sheep or animal without his permission, without his instruction to do so. فيضمن, so therefore he has to pay the penalty. He destroyed somebody else's property. So like happens whenever you destroy somebody else's property, you have to pay the penalty for it. You have to pay the value of it. كما إذا ذبح شاة اشتراها القصاب. It's like how if somebody slaughtered a sheep or a goat, which a butcher bought. The butcher bought a particular animal, and somebody came along and slaughtered the animal. So he has to pay the butcher. Why I'm saying butcher is because you can't argue that he's a butcher. He was going to do that in any case. I just did him a favor. I just did his work. I made his work easier for him. So that's why you're using the example of a kasab. No, because in the butcher could say, I didn't have intention to slaughter the animal just yet. I wanted to sell it. So it's not necessary that because the butcher, if you say an animal in this position, that you wanted to slaughter it, so now you went and slaughtered it. But the law just says that without his permission, you have to pay for it. Understood?
Sure.
So in the same way here, just because the person was going to slaughter the animal for qurbani, you can't just go ahead and slaughter the animal by yourself, even if there was a mistake. Wajul istihsan, right now, what is the ruling or the viewpoint of istihsan? أنها تعينت الذبح أو أنها تعينت للذبح, that this animal was being specified or has been specified for slaughter. لتعينها للأضحية, because that animal was purchased for the purpose of udhiyah. Right? So it became specified for slaughter or became marked for slaughter because it was earmarked for qurbani. حتى وجب عليه أن يضحي بعينها. Therefore, it would have been compulsory upon the owner himself to slaughter that very animal في أيام النحر, during the days of slaughter. ويقرأ يبدل بها غيرها, and it would have been makruh, abhorrent, dislike for that person to have changed that animal with another animal. فصار المالك مستعينا بكل ما يكون أهلا للذبح. So therefore we will say that the owner, he is in the status or he's in a position where he is taking assistance from anybody who is able to slaughter. He was going to slaughter in any case. So anybody that is able to slaughter, it is as if he has asked that person for help and assisted in slaughtering it. آذنا له دلالة, giving permission to that person, dalalatan, dalalatan, by tacit approval, by ishara, by indications. Tacit approval, he has given that person permission. لأنها تفوت بمضي هذه الأيام. Why? Because the udhiyah would have been missed, would have gone by with the passing of these days. وعساه يعجز عن إقامتها لعوارض. And it is possible that he would not have been able to complete the qurbani himself because of some excuse or the other, some excuse awarded, something which cropped up with the other. فصار كما إذا ذبح شاة شد القصاب رجلها. So this will be the example. So in Qiyas we say the examples like it was a butcher who bought the animal. So we say no, this is like a butcher who tied the leg of the animal. Otherwise he was in the process of slaughtering the animal himself and somebody came along, third party came along and slaughtered it for him. In that case, there is no demand because the butcher would have slaughtered the animal in any case. You follow?
Sure.
فإن قيل يفوته أمر مستحب, and if it is objected and said, but yeah, a mustahab has been missed by the third party slaughtering it without permission, one mustahab has been left out. What is that? وهو أن يذبح بنفسه أو يشهد الذبح, that he would have slaughtered, that is for him to have slaughtered it by himself or at least been witness to the slaughter. فلا يرضى به, so you would not have been happy with that he was not given the chance to slaughter himself or witness the slaughter himself. قلنا يحصل له مستحبان, that okay, he must have done that one, but he has gained two other mustahabans آخران. ولذلك سيرورة مضاحيا لما عينه, that number one, he has become or he is counted as a person whose udhiyah is done for him in that animal that he has specified. So it will be as if he asked somebody to slaughter on his behalf, so that duty and responsibility is fallen off of him. وَكَوْنُهُ مُعَجِّلًا بِهِ فَيَرْتَضِيهِ, and secondly, it was done quickly. And as we know, to do an ibadah quickly as possible, this is mustahab, this is recommended, this is meritorious. So therefore, you would have been happy with it. وَلِعُلَمَائِنَا رَحِمَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى مِنْ هَذَا الْجِنْسِ مَسَائِلُ اسْتِحْسَانٍ. Now he's saying that for our ulama, the ahnaf, they are belonging to this class of this category of masail. There are other masail also that fit under this istihsan, where a person did something which outwardly seemed like he damaged somebody's goods, but he will not be out liable. For example, he's mentioning about four masalas, right? وهي أن من طبخ لحم غيره أو طحن حنطته أو رفع جرته فانكسرت أو حمل دابته فعطبت كل ذلك بغير أمر المالك يكون ضامنا. And if a person cooks somebody else's meat, number one, or he grounded uh, somebody else's grains, okay? He grounded or he molded somebody else's grains, or he lifted somebody's jara is like a clay pot. He lifted up the clay pot to pass it to him or to put it onto his animal, whatever, and it fell and broke. أو حمل على دابته, or he puts something onto that person's animal فعطبت, the animal died because of the weight. He put some goods onto the owner's animal, and the animal died. كل ذلك بغير أمر المالك, without in these four instances, it is without the permission of the owner. يكون ضامنا. In all four instances, he will be liable to pay for the damage. Understood?
Okay.
So this resembles the masala of the butcher who bought an animal and just had it with him, right? So just like there, the butcher who bought the animal, he hadn't gotten it prepared yet for store. He just bought it, and somebody came along and saw that he would have been. So these four masala fall under that, and that's under that qiyas thing. However, right? ولو وضع المالك اللحم في الكدر. If in the same masala number one, if the owner put the meat into the pot, والكدر على الكانون, and the pot was on the pot stand. Like in those days, they had like a poiki type of thing, you know, those tripod stands, you know, that you use for the poiki over the
Yeah.
fire. That's a kanun, right? The tripod stand. والحطب تحته, and the unlit firewood was under the stand, where he's going to cook the meat in. So he put the meat into the pot was on the stove, so to speak. It hadn't been switched on yet, it was ready to go. Right? Well, and now the person, أو جعل الحنطة في الدورق. In the second masala, where the person grounded the wheat. In this case here, جعل الحنطة في الدورق. The person placed the wheat into the bag. The dawrak is the bag from which the animal which pours the seeds onto the mill, and then the animal turns the mill to crush the seeds. So that's called the dawrak, the place where you pour the seeds from. So the seeds were already in the dawrak, and I don't know what you want to call it. It was already in the dawrak. وربط الدابة, and the person had tied the animal to get it ready to crush the seeds. Okay, that's the second masala. Third masala, أو رفع الجرة, or the person had picked up the what do you call what do you call this? I picked up the clay pot himself, the owner. أو أمال إلى نفسه, or he was bringing it to himself, dragging it to himself, and to put it onto the animal. أو حمل على دابته, or he was taking the bag and putting it onto the animal himself. Okay, he was about to put the goods onto the animal himself. He was busy in the process of packing the goods on the animal himself. فسقط في الطريق, and he fell into the road. Okay? فأوقد 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 هو النار. And so in the first masala, the third person came along and he lit the fire, started cooking the meat. فطبخه, and in this instance now he cooked it. أو ساق الدابة فتحنا, or in the second masala, he started driving the animal to crush the grains. أو أعانه على رفع الجرة, or he went to go and assist the owner to pick up the clay pot. فانكسر, and then it fell and broke. فيما بينما, it fell between them and broke, and he was helping the owner. أو حمل على دابته ما سقط, or he picked up what fell off the animal and put it back onto the animal, and فعطبه, then the animal died after that, and it fell down and died because of the weight. In this instance, لا يكون ضامن, he will not be a ضامن. Why? Because in all four instances, that person was in the process of doing that action in any case. You follow?
Yeah.
So the third party, although he didn't take permission, he sort of had permission from the owner. Like, can't I help a guy out here? He said, oh, help me out here. Help me to pick this goods up, or just the stuff fell, just help me to pick it up from the floor and so forth. Okay. So the owner was in the process of doing the stuff himself, and this person came along and he decided to be helpful. He didn't do anything that the owner wasn't going to do himself. So in this case, he will not be liable to pay for the damage. So لا يكون ضامن في هذه الصور, he will not be responsible or liable in these instances استحسانا. Then لوجود إذن دلالة. Why? Because permission is found دلالة tacit through tacit means, by indication. Understood this?
Yeah.
إذا ثبت هذا, so if you understood this, these مسائل and how they fit in, then نقول في مسألة الكتاب. Now we say what regards to the مسألة mentioned in the kitab about the person slaughtering each other's animal without permission. Understand? Each one's قربان without permission. ذبح كل منهما أضحية غيره بغير إذن صريح. That each one of them slaughtered the other person's animal without his explicit permission. فهي خلافية تفر بعينها. So this is exactly the same masala that Imam Zufar Rahmatullah has a difference of opinion with the other Imams. Understood? ويتأتى فيها القياس والاستحسان. And just like in those 4 masail or 5 masail, istihsan and qiyas is found. In this masala also, we have istihsan and qiyas as well for the same reasons. Understood?
Yeah.
كما ذكرنا, as we already mentioned in the beginning. فيأخذ كل واحد ما مسلوخة من صاحبه. So each one of them will take the animal from the person who slaughtered it, مسلوخة, skinned. Okay? He will take it from the other person who slaughtered it while it was skinned. Undressed, as I say, undressed animal. ولا يثمنه, and he will not be liable to pay for having slaughtered the animal without permission. لأنه وكيله فيما فعل دلالة, because it is as if he was the wakil, was acting as a wakil, representative, in what he did دلالة, through tacit approval, and through indication, as he explained in the beginning.
So
Yes?
after each one of them slaughtered it, then they will skin it and then give the animal to the other person, to the original owner.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
فإن كان قد أكل ثم علم فليحلل كل واحد ما صاحبه. And if each one of them ate it already, and then they came to know that they slaughtered the wrong animal, then each one of them should make it a halal for the other person. And it, never mind, I give it just for him to eat that one, and you will give me the other to eat his one. Okay?
Okay.
ويجزيهما, and it will suffice for each one of them. Why? لأنه لو أطعمه في الابتداء أن يجوز وإن كان غنيا فكذا لو يحله في الانتهاء. Because if he had given permission to eat in the beginning, and he saw that himself, it would have been permissible, even though that person was a rich person. So it was in the same way, it will be permissible for him to allow it at the end as well, after he came to find out, after the person ate it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, وَإِن تَشَاحَ, if they both get into an argument, mutual argument, they're not happy. No, why did you slaughter my animal? Why did you slaughter my animal? They get into argument, they were not happy with each other. Although it was a mistake, they were not happy with each other, and they don't want to give permission. ولكل واحد ما أن يضمن صاحبه قيمة لحمه. In that case, each one of them will be liable to pay the other the value of the meat. ثم يتصدق بتلك القيمة, and then he has to give that amount away in charity. He can't use his money himself. لأن بدل عن اللحم. Why? Because that money is a badal, stands in place of the meat. فصار كما لو باع أضحيته. So it will be as if he resold the udhiyah, which is not allowed to do, as we said. So he has to give the money away. وهذا لأن التضحية لما وقعت عن صاحبه كان اللحم له، ومن أتلف اللحم أضحية غيره كان حكم ما ذكرنا. And this is because when the udhiyah, when the slaughtering occurred from the other person, the meat belonged to him. So by him eating it, it is as if he destroyed, or by him slaughtering it, it's as if he destroyed the meat of somebody else's. So therefore, the hukum will be, as we just mentioned, he'll be liable to pay for it. Okay?
Yeah.
خلاص مثلا ومن غصب شاة فضحى بها ضمن قيمتها وجاز أن أضحيته لأنه ملكها. That is, somebody forcefully stole somebody's goat or sheep and made qurbani of it, you will be a dhamin. In this case, you will be liable to pay for the animal. However, he sold it as an udhiyah for himself. And so Zayd stole Bakr's animal, and then Zayd stored it as qurbani for himself. Okay, so you have to pay Bakr for the animal that he slaughtered. However, the udhiyah, his qurbani will be correct. And Jazan udhiyah, his qurbani, the ghasib's qurbani, will be correct. Understood that?
Yeah.
Why is this? Because remember when you did the ghasab masala, when a person pays for the damages that he incurred to somebody else's property, then he becomes the owner of that item. So I borrowed your watch and I took your watch and I destroyed it. I damaged it. I have to pay it back to you, right? With the watul qiyam. I paid you the money for it. So now I become the owner of that watch. You follow?
Yeah.
So whenever a person makes ghasab of something and he destroys it or damages it, and he has to pay for it, then he becomes the owner. But he doesn't become the owner the day he pays for it. His ownership will be traced back to the day he took it.
Yeah.
Will establish his ownership from that day. You follow?
Yeah.
So now when he slaughtered the animal, he was slaughtering his own thing. Because he stole it maybe the day before, and we are backtracking the ownership to that day. Let's say Monday, it was Tuesday, okay?
Yeah.
So when he sold it on Tuesday, by him having paid for it, he was the owner on Tuesday of the animal. Therefore, he was slaughtering his own animal. So yes, he's liable to pay that person for what he did, but the udhiyah will be correct because he slaughtered his own animal by when he paid for the liability, when he paid the amount to the person. Understand that?
Yeah.
So that's what they explain here. لأنه ملكها بسابق الغصب. Why he became the owner of it by the previous غصب, by him taking it, stealing it previously, and by paying for it. بخلاف ما لو أودع أود أو أودع أودع مجهول أودع مجهول بخلاف إذا أودع شاة فضحى بها. This is contrary if somebody was given a goat or a sheep as wadi'ah in safekeeping, as amanat, as a trust, and that hold onto this for me as wadi'ah, as a pawn, is that? PAWN. And then he went and sold the animal for himself. Right? Now, when somebody gives you something as wadi'ah, you're not allowed to use it or for yourself or damage it in any way. Understood? So when the person
Yeah.
did this, فَضَحَ بِهَا, then the must will be different. Yeah, you will be dhamin for it, but at the same time, the udhiyah will not be correct. When he made udhiyah intending himself the muda, the udhiyah won't be correct. لأنه يضمن بالذبح. Why he only became dhamin of it when he made qurbani. While it was in his possession, he had been given what do you
Permission
call
to
it, an
enter.
ownership. He had been given possession of it by the owner. Understand? Until when the owner pays back the money to him or whatever it is, then he's supposed to give that item back to the owner. So he was given possession, not ownership, but possession of it by the owner. So he only became a ghasib when he slaughtered the animal. And so at the time he was slaughtering the animal, he was not the owner. You follow?
Yeah.
So you can't slaughter something which you're not the owner of as qurbani for yourself. So that's why in this master, you will have to pay the qimat of it as well, and the udhiyah will not be correct. لأنه يضمن بالذبح, because he only became ضامن, liable to pay for it when he slaughtered the animal. فلم يثبت الملك له, and at that time in brackets, ownership had not been established for him. إلا بعد الذبح, except after having slaughtered the animal. Got that?
Yeah.
والله تعالى أعلم وعلمه أتم وأحكم. And we're doing this for the kitab, end of the kitab, in the end of the year as well. Allah reward you all immensely, and in dunya, qabr, and akhirah, for all your sacrifices, especially for today as well, inshallah. We try to make you from the ulama that act upon the ilm, سامعين مطيعين هداة مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين, with salamat and afia and siha and karama and mahabba among yourself and your family, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala make it a means of your entry into Jannah, and the highest stage of Jannah to Firdaus in company of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah forgive me also, inshallah, now show maaf as well for any mistakes which I definitely did make. But I'll say did something wrong, explain anything wrong, or didn't explain it properly, inshallah. Please make us maaf for it, and kindly remember us in your du'as as well, inshallah. Inshallah, grant all success for the future. Ameen, ameen, Rabbil Alamin. قبل الله منا منكم. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.